Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream today. I am Megan Seaton, the Business Development Manager for Avero Advisors, and we are talking about a very buzzworthy topic today, generative AI, specifically how it can be used in the local government space. And hopefully, we can provide some advice on how local governments can overcome some of the challenges if they're thinking about implementing AI in their day-to-day activities. So I do have my AI expert, Mr. Abhijit Varakar. Hey, AV.
Hi. If you know, one of my newest sayings is if you see an AI expert that claims to be an AI expert, run far away because I don't think there is such a thing yet. It's such a fast evolving um, field, especially with local governments. There's so much to do and so many applications uh, that can be made to make the lives of local government employees and citizens better. But really, there's onesie twosie things being done. There's no one has really handled this as far as I know. If you know, if someone's watching and knows better, please put yourself in the comments and tell me what's going on. But lots of great applications, lots of potential. I'm really excited about uh, the potential for AI deployment in all kinds of government agencies.
Yes, as am I. To start off, can you tell our viewers what generative AI means? I know a lot of people go straight for Chat GPT. That's what it is, right? But can you talk further about what that means and maybe some ideas of how it can be used in the local government space?
Yeah, it's timely because I just finished a course in AI and deploying it from MIT. So lots of theory that I've captured some of in my head. Um, so with GPT, it it's an engine that was fed all of the world's, and I'm saying this in terms that the layperson can understand. It's a software that was fed all of the world's knowledge from the
Hmm.
beginning of time that's been digitized or not, and this model learned and became smarter. It learned, it self-taught, it ingested everything. So what you see when you put in requests from ChatGPT is an output. It's not going back into a database to find the thing. It's got its own mind that it's
Hmm.
learned from all of the world's knowledge, and its cutoff was 2021 if you're using GPT-4. It's not quite generative AI. Generative AI is AI that can think for itself and not just go backwards and use existing knowledge to do it. And I don't think it's debatable whether generative AI exists. There's a lot of AIs that come close, but I don't think there's one that stands out. Or if, within the AI community, the scholars disagree on whether we have achieved generative AI or not. So let's just talk about what's in front of us today, and it's close to generative AI. Really depends on how you deploy it, and I've in the last 6 months taken a deep dive into this rabbit hole, but you know expert far from it.
So, with all the advancements and the buzz around AI, what are your thoughts on the general excitement in the industry?
I think it's valid. I think it's well founded because the two problems facing local governments and agencies related to local governments have been around for the longest time, as long as I've been in this industry, right? Especially now, the labor market is constrained. You don't have people to man your front lines, your caseworkers, the people that take in applications that talk to your customers, especially in agencies like housing authorities and utilities. It's very customer facing. um, you're losing people to the private sector, to other cities. People just don't want to do this job anymore in some cases. And AI is going to come to the rescue if deployed well. You can have chatbots that actually make sense, that don't just tell you that I don't understand you, go try again, that they're digging into the institution's tribal knowledge through all of their data and giving you meaningful answers. I would love that, right? If you could just go
Hmm.
on, let's just say the immigration department's website and ask questions that without having to go dig into multiple layers of Google search or talking to a robot on the side that's just giving you canned answers. So lots of applications, and those are just the basic ones. We're seeing chatbots using AI deployed today. What's going to happen in the next 6 months is people are going to start seeing natural language processing uh, based reporting, so that a city manager, a CFO doesn't have to send a report request to your IT department that then decides to study how this works and figure out how to make this report. It's going to be instant. um, Not only that, you're going to have personal AI assistants. I don't know how that is going to look like, but I'm really excited for it. You're going to have a second brain essentially that belongs to you, that knows you in and out. Now apply that to um, uh, applications in local government, to specific departments that serve the public. I just get very excited talking about this because the applications are endless.
So, thank you for joining us today, Dennis, and also Mackenzie. If you guys do not know Mackenzie yet, she is our new social media coordinator. So, she comes to us with a question today. I think it's a great one. How can AI be used to enhance communication between local governments and citizens?
Yeah, I think that touches on what I just talked about. Chatbots and communication, where you're doing it today. Progressive cities have things like 311, where you can call them and ask about anything, and they should have an answer. Now, traditionally, these are staffed by human beings that answer the phone and look up information and tell you what's going on. And it's a pretty major operation within a city or a county organization. Now, if you could have the same sense of service and have the same sort of information available to an AI based chatbot, again, that isn't just giving you canned answers, but understands your situation, goes back and looks into all of the available information and resources that it has, and gives you real answers.
Mm-hmm.
That enhances communication between local governments and citizens right away. We're working on several projects trying to improve the digital city experience for our client citizens, right? And because our clients are not at the cutting edge by design in many cases, you have the opportunity now to leapfrog technologies like static chat box or email based forms, to just jump and leapfrog and really enhance and embrace AI based technologies that can reduce your footprint as far as your 311 call center is concerned, or having to find the people that will accept that type of job. uh, this is a natural flow of the world, because AI is going to not necessarily take over those jobs. It's going to enhance them. You can now have a well functioning 311 department that works from 8 to 6, let's say. And then you also have a chatbot for people like me that don't like talking on the phone. I'd rather talk to a chatbot for mundane day to day sort of stuff. So, communication with citizens, between citizens and counties and cities, and everything to do with government, local transit authorities, airports, school systems, utilities, anything that is heavy on customer service. They're going to see a breath of fresh air when it comes to being able to deploy more resources and serve their customers better.
All right, great question, Mackenzie. Dennis wants to know digital internal audit management and AI. Can you elaborate on that?
Ooh, good question. Dennis must know that I am an accountant at heart and training. Internal audit, really depends on internal controls. Like if you've got the controls set, audit management can be relatively easy. I know some of our clients are going into audit season, and it's never easy or fun to have auditors come ask questions. Some larger clients, organizations have internal audit departments or a person that gets them ready for audits from an outside party. um, I can foresee it being done with an AI agent or AI enhanced or enabled internal audit, where as long as you have your internal controls set, you can do internal audits using AI. um, and it all goes back to how you're set up, right? We were on an earlier webinar where the speaker was talking about uh, having an inventory, like we call it at Avero, an inventory of all of your data elements,
Hmm.
document everything, and then you can see where AI could be helpful in using what data sets to provide services like internal audits and communications to the customers.
So when we talk about local government, obviously there is a ton of sensitive data, right?
Hmm.
And so I think one of the most common challenges is that data. And so what advice would you give to someone who's looking to implement AI strategies, but they're concerned about some of the risk factors involved in that?
Yeah. I mean, AI or not, you need to be safeguarding personally identifiable information. We don't want information that will pinpoint um, a person's address or have a hacker steal anything that would allow them to, steal someone's identity. Very, very
Mhm.
difficult thing to do as far as a city government is concerned, but it's an important thing to do, safeguarding personally identifiable information. Um, so that applies AI or not. Clients are doing this today. They're being very careful about electronically saving information and about not letting it leak. Um, Maybe 5 years ago, we I was at a client side that still used note cards for HR information, and it was just in the office, unlocked, and it was just there for everybody to see. Uh, it That's unsafe, and it has nothing to do with AI. Now
Mhm.
you transfer that to a digital sort of file cabinet with all of my information on employees. And if you're talking about letting an AI engine ingest that information, you have to be extremely careful to make sure that this is your instance of whichever AI engine you're using, OpenAI or Google AI, whoever it is. You need to make sure that it is air gapped, that it's not connected to the internet. Of course, you're going to access the engine through the internet, so there's an inherent risk to it. But you have to make sure that this isn't getting commingled with other sets of data. Number
Right.
one. Second, I think having policies around how to use data in general and what kind of data should be used to train an AI model is the first step you should do, right? Before you go and buy something or hire a consultant that does AI based chatbots or reporting or what have you, you need to be clear on what data you're going to allow this engine to ingest and use. And many times, sensitive PII information isn't that necessary. What the engine would want to know is the demographic information that isn't personally
Mhm.
identifiable. So, like with a lot of things, technology, it comes down to what management practices and theories do you apply to a project or an outcome before you start doing it, because technology will do anything, practically anything you ask it to do.
Right. So, along those same lines, data silos seem to be a persistent issue in local government. So, how can they address these silos to ensure that their data is an optimal structure for AI applications?
Yeah, I think that's step number one.
Mhm.
We are, as you're aware, we're doing some pilot programs with a couple of clients on natural language based reporting. I think that's going to be huge for clients, especially that are operating on older, not so good ERP systems. And they have all of this data from 30, 40, 50 years ago that can be really deployed to train AI models. Now, when we asked clients to give us some sample data, again, not personally identifiable, it came in a variety of different formats. And the challenge, AI or not, yes, this AI can ingest unstructured data, but it's going to take it that much longer to provide meaningful feedback and outputs from unstructured
Mhm.
data. With structured data or semi-structured data, you still need to scrub it a little bit. It's not like you're scrubbing it for a migration from an old AS400 system to a modern system. It's not that level of scrubbing. You still need to make sure that your column headers are right, that you have the right data in the right columns, and you're giving the AI model the best chance of understanding what's going on. But it's phenomenal, even with unstructured data. Some of the experiments we've ran are providing outputs pretty easily based on unstructured data. An example is we fed it some purchase orders for 1 year from a client, and the questions we asked was, did we buy some hat? Did we buy sweatshirts last year?
Hmm.
And it quickly came back and said, yeah, you bought 318 sweatshirts. And then the next question was, well, who was it for? And it said Parks and Rec Department, so and so signed off on it. How easy was that? Just with unstructured data. And in today's world, and most 99% of our clientele is still asking somebody to write them a report to see how many sweatshirts were bought for Parks and Rec last year. Instead, you should be asking this from a Siri or an Alexa um, when you have it set up. So I think that's going to be the most revolutionary thing from the get go.
Yes, my goodness, how much time is that going to save? Lord, can
Month.
you speak to more examples? Any standout examples? Maybe how do you foresee Avero using AI in the future to help our clients?
I mean, the world is our oyster right now. The
Yeah.
challenge is the how, right? I'm
Uh-huh.
I'm not I'm not a super technical person, but I've gotten this far. And it's a function of time. There are companies that are dedicated, and they're pivoting from software development into AI completely. And our job as consultants is to it again. It's the same job, right? You had
Hmm.
software providers that came up with either great software or bad software based on what they thought the client wanted. And then when we get involved, we tell them, well, here's the requirements, here's the process flow, here's what each department wants, here's how they integrate. And I don't think our job changes from that standpoint. uh, it changes now. We need to have a deep understanding of what AI or generative AI or AI models are capable of doing, and brainstorm and blue sky this with our clients and say, what can we do to make your life better? um,
Hmm.
we have clients that are looking for CFOs. Now, what's the function of a CFO? Budgeting, making sure that they're managing their bonds and they're managing their payables and receivables. Um, and a lot of times they get bogged down in just reporting, spreadsheets. Could that be automated? Could that be an AI function to where the CFO's job is now just forward thinking and looking out for the financial best interests of the city or the county? Our job as consultants will be to help those people identify the opportunities and all of the ways that they can make lives better for themselves and their customers.
So McKinsey asks, what existing government services can benefit the most from AI integration?
I think all of them,
Hmm.
but most from a local government standpoint. I think anything that has a huge customer service focus. Again, utilities comes to mind, health and human services, where the act of applying for welfare services, excuse me, is laden with paper. It's laden with repetitive tasks and repetitive questions being asked of the same people that are seeking services. Um, and we've tried to automate this. I was on a project with Microsoft and a couple other large vendors about 15 years ago, where we were trying to, excuse me, create a single door for anyone to come in and ask for services from a health and human services department. Instead, they were being sent to multiple places, right? If I'm a homeless person in Maryland that also has diabetes, I need to go to 10 different places to get services that I need. And we attempted to do a single door approach, and the tech wasn't quite there to make it happen seamlessly. They did it somehow, but today with AI, you don't need to actually try to crash all of these things together. If you're
Hmm.
a caseworker, and if I'm a person looking for homeless assistance, I should be able to give you my social security and name, and you should know everything about me, about all the services I need, where I've been served before, and what I might need in the future. uh, Everything should be in the same data picture should be available to you and me as a customer and a service provider. I mean, those are just one or two examples. Like I said, applications are not just customer facing, but they can also be behind the scenes. We've been working with automated traffic management systems for several clients. And yes, it's software enabled, but now it's going to be even more with the use of data. Because can you imagine if a AI model's been fed 20 years worth of traffic data and patterns? It can help you plan cities better.
Yeah.
It can help you plan intersections, lights, um, all of these things. I mean, there's so much to do. And the next 10 years are going to be fantastic for local governments.
Yes, absolutely. I know we've talked about data, but are there any other pitfalls or challenges that local government leaders should be thinking about when trying to integrate AI into their systems?
Yeah, I think right now, and this is evolving. Moving too fast could be detrimental. I think
Mhm.
having a strategy around AI is very critical. The newer IT strategic plans that we're doing will feature a lot of AI components to it, because the nature of the world has changed, right? Because of AI. Um, you're not going to make the same recommendations right now that you made
Yeah.
maybe 5 years ago or even last year, because you have uh, so many avenues available to make quick changes and quick outcomes to your citizens. So it's evolving, and I think the best thing to do right now is just take it in as a sponge and look for opportunities to um, grow grow your services through the use of AI. And it could be as simple as just letting encouraging the use of GPT within city governments. I know there's several city governments and companies across the world that have banned the use of GPT, and it's
Mhm.
understandable. You don't want sensitive data to be out in a public AI model like GPT.
Right.
But can you have a similar model that is closed off, that's personal to you as a city or a county, that can be used by your employees to become more efficient? Things like sending out tax collection notices, or writing letters, or responding to people that are calling in or writing in on your Facebook page
Right.
in an automated way that makes sense and is personable. All of those things are possible.
So, how do you see the balance between older traditional local government methods and the newer AI driven methodologies? Like, is there a risk of alienating demographics?
Yeah, again, undefined.
Hmm.
I don't know what the role of big government is in regulating AI. I think there will be some regulation that comes down um, as we start seeing sections of society, having to pivot to a different form of work. Me personally, I think it's fantastic. It's changed my life in the last 1 year, and it has
Yes.
changed yours.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
so I think we need to look at it from a very positive way, but also uh, guard against things like misinformation, disinformation,
Hmm.
that that really needs regulation around it. And I think the people that came up with this technology are fairly open to putting those guardrails in.
So, Dennis says your views of having a clear roadmap for AI adoption, including plans for ongoing maintenance, upgrades, and adapting to new technologies. What are
Uh,
our views? I assume.
yeah,
Yes.
thanks, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.
So it goes back to my previous thought, right? We do a lot of IT strategic planning. Our
Hmm.
approach has always been uh, working with the mayor's office or a city manager or a county administrator. Tell us your vision. Where do you want this city or county or any organization? Where do you want it to be in the next 5 years? We'll tell you where your gaps are in terms of technology and make you a plan for how to do that. Um, a big part of this will be AI adoption now. And the good news is, right, like with everything else, our clientele have the advantage of watching the private sector do things that may not have worked. So they can leapfrog bad technologies. Um, so creating a strategy around AI, being forward thinking about how you want to use it, And that will include ongoing maintenance, upgrades, adapting to new technologies. Because the other thing we keep saying is, if you do this right, you don't have to do this multiple times in your career or at the same place, for sure. Like an ERP implementation, you need to plan for it. You need to plan for ongoing maintenance. You have to plan for upgrades. You have to plan for adapting to new technologies. So none of that's different from AI. The subject matter is a little different.
And Mackenzie, what role can AI play in fostering inclusivity and equality in local government policies and actions?
That's a tough one. I think it
Mhm.
it I really should get this mug that says it depends. Uh,
You should.
yeah, it
We
really
should have
depends.
shirts made,
Yeah,
actually.
we
Yeah.
should. You can't. I don't think we can let AI dictate how we deal with inclusivity and equality, because again, that means different things to different people, depending on where you are, what your population is, and who's in charge of government. So, letting AI help you understand things is I think a good use of AI. But um, I I don't know. I'm not well versed enough or educated enough in that field to really understand how AI can help foster it. But I think understanding of those different elements that everyone's struggling with, right? It's not just um, one or two agencies or us. I mean, from a different generation, we have to adopt to uh, a different take on inclusivity than it was 20 years ago.
Right. Well, I think the bottom line is that it can all help our day to day activities be more seamless and save time on some of these little things, like your example of the invoice.
Mhm.
How many sweatshirts did we get printed, and who were they printed for, and how much did we spend?
Yeah.
Something that could take 20 minutes can now take 5 seconds, right? You ask a bot,
Mhm.
it spits it out to you. Same thing with emails, responding to emails. Now, I do still like a personal touch, but it is nice to quickly get a response, right? And then teeter it to how you want it to sound. So, thank you, AV, for shedding light on generative AI. I think this is something that's going to be around for the rest of our lives, and it's truly exciting. To think about, and to think about from our standpoints, how it's going to change our customers' lives and our local government. So I appreciate you joining me today. I don't have any other question unless you want to provide thoughts on anything else.
No, I think there's a lot of good resources out there. We'll keep talking about this, and just study and learn about, what the applications are, what the other municipalities are doing, what the private sector is doing with uh, generative AI or AI in general.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be great for local government.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely. And where could one go to stay up to date on this topic?
uh, gosh, so again, so many avenues. I don't think there's one authoritative one that is
Hmm.
practical. But of course, you can always come to our website and on all of our social presences to find out what our latest thinking is on this. And Travis is here. He says, think a logical next step after some local government implementation of AI would be some interagency collaboration. Absolutely.
Yes.
I think that's interagency collaboration is a it's not a pipe dream. It's so attainable for so many agencies and cities across the country that it's surprising that it's not done more often. But yes, AI will hopefully foster that into the next generation. Thank you, Travis.
Yes, and yes, thank you, Travis. Thank you for joining today. Yeah, Sean spoke on that a little bit in public housing, how it could be used to connect other nonprofits, right? That could
Hmm.
help their residents in public housing. So, thank you guys for joining us. Catch us next week. We will be live. And again, if you guys have any questions for us after you see this, please reach out to AV or myself. We're everywhere. So, thank you all. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, Megan. Bye.